Things Podcast. Hey, Phantomaniacs, welcome to the newest episode of the Needless Things Podcast, where we talk about toys, movies, music, and all manner of pop culture dorkery. I am your host, Dave, and I should really be upstairs because today is Valentine's Day, and while I did my due diligence, I sent the flowers. I had to work all day, because of course I did, because that's what I do all the time now, and I've got a trainee. And if you remember my last experience with a trainee a few years ago, it was not great. One of the top 5 or bottom 5 worst experiences of my entire working life. And I had sworn I would never take a trainee again. But when you're a good employee, they want you to train new employees, and they hope that they too will be good employees. Now, this did not work out last time, but this time, it's only been 3 days. But I have to say, this guy is quiet, he has humility, he listens, he does as he's told, and he seems pretty sharp. And none of those things were qualities that the last trainee had, so I'm full of hope and delight at the possibility that the next 3 months will not be absolute torture. And that I will be able to maintain the site and a little bit better than I was able to last time, because that one just drained me, required so much of my attention, and that was actually the start of when the site kind of stopped being 5 days a week all the time. And I'll tell you this, right now, if I was drained anymore, I'd be a potato chip. But anyway, so I did my thing. I had my Valentine's Day presents prepared. I was at work all day, but I arranged for flowers to be delivered at home while I was at work. And I will say this, you may hear ads for the Books, which sounds horrible. It's a dumbass name for any kind of service, but they're attempting to compete with ProFlowers, which I use ProFlowers for years, and they're fantastic. I highly recommend them. The Books, on the other hand, are fucking street trash. It's like comparing, not even Target, because ProFlowers is like even nicer. Like if you're trying to find comparisons, the Books is Walmart, and ProFlowers is like whatever would be even nicer than Target. And when I say Target, I mean somewhere that's going to have toys and clothes and everything else. So really, I guess Target's top of the heap. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a bit of a thing here, but just don't order from the Books. They're garbage. They're trash. If you follow me on Facebook as Dave West, I put up pictures of the bouquets, and I ordered 1 bouquet, and we got 2, which sounds good, except for the fact that it means we now have 2 piles of trash in the house instead of 1 pile of trash. But I put up pictures as well as a comparison to what I thought I was ordering, the picture on their website of the lovely purple and pink Valentine bouquet that was supposed to arrive versus the piles of trash that I guess they picked up from behind the parking lot of the Books shipping facility. It's terrible, and I can't say enough bad things about them. So anyway, and the only reason I tried them is because I got a supposed free bouquet from buying movie tickets. And of course, you go and you find out you got to pay for shipping, you got to pay for this, you got to pay for that. It's not free, but it's still worth it. I'll give it a shot. Why not? It's a new thing, and it's time for flowers. And I shouldn't have. I should have stuck with ProFlowers. Always stick with what you know when it's great. And then I had Valentine's Day gifts. We did a little gift exchange, and then there are a couple things that need to be done by the family upstairs. So I'm taking just a little bit of time here to put this episode together to record my intro. The episode already recorded, and it's about the new movie Alita: Battle Angel that I hope you will all go and see. We're going to sit down today. I sat down with Ryan and Nicole because we went and saw the movie together Monday. And I will tell you this, there are spoilers. There are tons and tons of spoilers. So if you don't really care about the movie, listen to the episode. Hopefully we will convince you to go see the movie. And if you already saw the movie, then listen to the episode, enjoy it, feel the feelings that we felt, and there you go. But just for right now, I encourage you to please go see this movie. Go see it on the biggest 3D Dolby screen you possibly can. It's gorgeous. It sounds incredible. The performances are amazing. It looks amazing. It's like nothing you've ever seen. And I know in this day and age, that's a mighty bold claim to make. But I promise you, this is something special. I really feel that it is. And just stick around for the conversation that we have, and you'll hear how much all three of us just adored this movie. Can't wait to see it again. So that's what's going on there. I think really there's not much else that I needed to cover. I talked about my current work situation. I talked about Valentine's Day, which, by the way, happy post-Valentine's Day to all of you. I'm not sure what the next holiday is, but I should probably figure it out. Oh, and I do have to tell you, unfortunately, there will not be a needless commentary in February. Everybody's schedules were just too bonkers. It couldn't happen. I worked one day of overtime last week, and it ruined my whole month. And then there's just tons and tons of stuff going on with everyone. Ryan's shooting a freaking movie. So next month, we will have a commentary, and then the commentary that we were going to do in February, I believe we're going to move to April. So that will still happen. That's Nicole's pick. So you know it's going to be something fun. And then next month, of course, we are going to have to figure out which wrestling-themed movie we're going to watch, because it is the lead-in to WrestleMania. So I think we're done, and it's time to talk about this incredible movie. So to set the stage, in the year 2563, a catastrophic war known as the Fall has left the Earth devastated. While scouting the junkyard metropolis of Iron City, cyborg scientist Dr. Dyson Ito discovers a disembodied female cyborg with a fully intact human brain. Ito rebuilds the cyborg, who doesn't have any recollections of her past, and names her Alita after his deceased daughter. Now, they take a couple of liberties. Well, not liberties. They just make a few changes versus the manga and the anime, which I read way back in the day. I've been a fan of this property for a very long time now, and have been very excited about this movie. So there's some changes in the film, and we discuss some of those in this conversation. But it is true to the character. It's true to the spirit. It's true to the vision of Battle Angel Alita. And I'm so happy with it, you guys. I'm so happy with it. And I hope that everybody goes to see it. I hope that everybody loves it as much as we do. So now, sit back and crack open an Iron City brew and enjoy our conversation about Alita, Battle Angel. Okay, so first of all, thank you for inviting me to your awesome home to talk about Alita, Battle Angel, which is still weird to me. I feel like Battle Angel Alita, I mean, granted, I've been saying that since like 1990, so of course it seems more natural, but Alita, Battle Angel seems weird.
Yeah, is the source material Battle Angel Alita?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is weird. I didn't even notice that.
I will look at my notes that I made today while I was at work. Instead of training the guy, I was making notes about Battle Angel Alita, or Alita Battle Angel.
I feel woefully unprepared with my zero notes.
Don't worry, there's really not that much comparatively, because like the movie is kind of its own thing. It's very much like based on the manga and anime, and anybody who's listening to this, I personally not a big fan of either of those things. When I like everybody, I experimented when I was younger, but I found that it was mostly not to my taste. But this Battle Angel Alita was one of the ones that stuck with me because it's a lot more centralized. Like, it's about her. It's not about this big cast of characters you can't keep track of.
Yeah.
It's really about one character, and the story follows her consistently. So it made it. I guess that's what I liked about it. But anyway, so we're here. We all three of us went and saw it Monday night at the super duper 3D Dolby AMC Movie-Rama.
Yeah, with food and
with food
and it was awesome.
Fancy food and Iron City beverages or whatever they were called.
That was fantastic.
Now, before we actually talk about the movie and before we talk about our previous experience with the manga or the anime, and I apologize if my pronunciations on those things are not what fans might prefer. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Manga or something.
Manga.
Like, shut up.
Anima.
You know what I mean.
Yeah, I know zero things about manga. Anything I know about it, I know from him.
Yeah, I'm kind of come back around on anime because I hated it for a long time.
Well, I see you're worried.
Oh, dude, I love this show. It's one of my favorite shows. My Hero Academia, dude. I love it.
I hear it's like anime X-Men or something.
It is.
Yeah, and I actually really dig it too. And I'm not a big fan of anime stuff. But I actually really... And I would watch that on my own. Whereas any other anime, it's fun watching it with you, but I'm probably not going to be like, oh, let me sit down and watch.
I mean, I'm not
something
fully into it. There's 2 shows I keep up with. But
yeah, well, and that's this and Cowboy Bebop are kind of it for me.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones that I really got engaged with.
You like Ghost in the Shell, right?
You know what? I do, but not to the point where I followed all the different things.
Oh, no, I just
because they've done a bunch of OVAs. They've done but the live action Ghost in the Shell.
And the original movie.
The original Ghost in the Shell. But that's it. I haven't read any of it.
Oh, same here, yeah.
And this is the only one that I've really gone and read the comics that it came from. But so we met up. We went to see this badass movie that we all thought looked awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And we're pretty excited about seeing. But, of course, since we did go to the super-duper fancy Turbo Theater, we wanted to get some nice adult beverages. So we arrived. We went over to McGuffin's, the AMC bar. And, Nicole, why don't you pick it up?
So, first of all, I got to say that I was already having kind of I was a little grumpy on Monday. I told everybody I was having a case of the Mondays. So I'm already kind of simmering right about a 6, just walking around. And go up to the bar and I sit down. There's 2 other people at the bar next to us, and Dave and Ryan are behind me. And I sit at the bar and I'm looking at the bartender, and he's making every effort to not acknowledge my existence at all for a really long period of time. To the point of washing glasses, going over to the 2 people sitting on the other end of the bar and being like, hey, can I get you guys anything else?
Yeah, I think he made a second drink.
Yes.
For one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
at this point, you've been there several minutes, and he hasn't even... it's one thing if he's busy. He hasn't even acknowledged you.
Oh, not even
a nod in my direction or anything.
Or something, yeah.
It was almost like he was actively ignoring me.
Yes.
When you're 12 and you're actively ignoring somebody and you're just not looking at them and looking over them and to the side of them and all, that's what he's doing. So, I'm already not in a super good mood, and then this happens. So I turn and look at the guys and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? And I probably said it, he probably loud enough for him to hear.
Sure.
And he still is not, it still was probably a good solid 5 minutes after that he ever...
I'd say this guy was having a case of the Mondays.
Oh, yeah. He was having a month of the Mondays.
Well, he was. And I got to say, I'm proud of myself because at some point I said, you guys, something's wrong.
Yeah.
This guy's...
It was over the top because we got our drinks. And first off, Nicole's whiskey and Coke.
Oh yeah, I said I would like a whiskey and Coke, which I've ordered 1,000,000 times. That means you want well whiskey and cola. It's whiskey and Coke. I don't care. There's this long silence where he's just looking at me like I'm an idiot, and he's like, "I'm gonna need more information about that whiskey and Coke." And I was like, "What?" And he's like, like, what kind of whiskey do you want?
I tried to intervene at that point. I was like, oh, just whatever you got there, buddy.
And I'm already
like... the wrong person.
Ryan made a command decision that it would be easier to just tell this guy a brand than to restrain you from leaping over the counter.
I was like, oh, just Jack Daniels.
Yeah, Ryan's like, anything. I'm like, I don't know, usually it means well whiskey. Have you not heard of... I mean, I was just like, I think that I was remarkably, like, not very rude in response to his rudeness. Like, I could have been a lot more rude. I was very short.
You guys were playing ping pong.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
He was paddling you some attitude, and you were paddling right back.
And then I look back at Dave, and he's like, I don't know, I'm starting to kind of like this guy.
yeah. Because, the turning point for me was when I tasted because you ordered the Iron City.
Yeah.
I ordered a rum and Diet Coke, although...
Oh, he didn't fucking ask you what kind of rum you wanted?
Do you know why he didn't? Because I said I want a Captain Morgan and Diet Coke, because I had just witnessed what happened to you, and I knew I better specify.
Got to.
So, but you ordered the movie-themed beverage.
Yeah,
I was like, because I'm going to try that.
I'm a sucker for those.
So you grab another straw, I take a sip of it, and I was like, oh man, that's pretty good. I was like, hey man, I'm sorry, but can I get one of those too? I got to get one of those. And he just looks at me for a second, and he goes, sure. And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think he followed that up with a sure, I guess.
Yeah, I think
there was a lot of heavy sighing, like...
Yeah.
I was very...
It was like a teenager had been asked to clean his room.
Yes, very much so. And then,
Fine. He was like Napoleon Dynamite. Fine.
When I ordered...
get your well whiskey.
When I ordered my second drink, because he had also said, like, do you want a single or a double? And I'm like, again, if you don't specify, normally it's a frickin' single.
Right.
So, like, I went to order the second drink. I was like, hello, I would like a well whiskey with Coca-Cola double, please. Thank you.
When I got here, when I arrived at your establishment, I only needed a single, but now
I need a double.
That was his plan.
Oh shit, it worked.
To make more money.
Exactly.
I was like, I need to get drunk
girl
to deal
off.
with this guy.
So you guys went off to go look at the food or something, and I was still sitting there at the bar, and I got another Captain and Coke, and he kind of turned around for a second. I was like, hey man, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. You know what? No. Here's what's that. Did you guys get there in time?
I caught the ass end of it just to figure out that you were having that conversation, but I didn't hear any of the details.
I showed up and I meant to ask you about it because I showed up and I was like, oh shit, this guy's like smiling now. He gave us an extra keychain so she could have one. He's like a totally different person.
Well, I was
which goes to show a little kindness, goes a long way.
And what happened is, and I don't want to get too much into detail, but he ended up with a long bad shift.
Yeah.
That's dead. He's not going to make any money. He's there all day long on that day. It's a dead day. And then found out he's going to have to do it again another day. So, it's one of those things where, like, you go in, you got to do your job, and then you find out your job's even worse than you thought it was.
Yeah.
I'm not even supposed to be here today.
Right. And we won't specify which AMC this was. I don't think we did we? No, we didn't.
No, we said it was fancy.
It may not even been AMC. It might have been a Regal.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Definitely a Regal.
Because Regal also has MacGuffins.
Yeah. Oopsie.
So anyway.
That was just a MacGuffin.
Anyway, he was fine.
He was great. No, he was great. Well, like, once we talked a little bit, he was awesome. And I'm sure every other day he's perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But
sometimes you have a case of the Mondays, and sometimes two cases of the Mondays go head to head.
Right.
And bad shit happens.
End up in a ping pong game to the death.
Yes.
But yeah, I always try to keep that in mind.
Good thing you guys were there.
Like, anytime I run into somebody, I try and keep in mind, I don't know what's going on with them right now. And look, you need to maintain a certain level of professionalism or whatever at your job, but you don't know what's going on with people. You just don't.
If it was the bartender at Sweetwater, he would have just broken a chair of your face for asking him what was wrong.
Yeah. And I probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, I know.
Because I would have been, what's wrong is you work in the Sweetwater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, so to actually talk about Alita Battle Angel, for me, I don't know what year it was. The original manga, Mandarin came out.
Mongoose.
Came out in 1990. I don't think I read it in 1990, but I know it would have been right around my like sophomore, junior year of high school because I had this crazy ass fucking English teacher. I ended up in AP English, which for the listeners out there, don't ever let your kids take any AP or honors classes because they're horse shit. That's just my personal opinion, but that's what I went through in high school. Every time I ended up in an honors class, I got some wackadoo teacher who thought that they were God's gift to teaching, and they were really just a jackass. So we had this, it was my freshman year, actually. It was my freshman year. And she would bring in Japanese comics that were totally inappropriate for freshmen
Most of them are.
in high school to be reading. But that was one of them. And I found out, I was like, man, I actually really like this one. It's cool. And then a few years later, the anime came out, the adaptation of the first story arc, which is most of what's in the live action movie. And I just really dug it. It's one of the few, like I watched a shit ton of anime. And then once I got to Urtsuka Doji, I was kind of like, I don't think I like this anymore. And if you don't know, that's Legend of the Overfiend, and there's lots of tentacle action in it. And it's really weird and uncomfortable. Yeah.
Don't know that one.
I didn't want it. I was too young. I didn't like it. But this one was nice and had kind of a traditional story almost. So that's where I come from with this. Is I'm a big fan of, I guess not the original versions, the comic and the animation. I like the character. I like the designs, and it also to me, so much anime looks very generic.
Oh yeah,
they go to schools to learn specifically to draw like that, but to me, this one had a little different style. It was a little more recognizable as its own thing. So I just dug it. What is you guys? Do you guys have any kind of background with it at all, or did you just go into this kind of as this looks cool?
It was literally like I saw the trailer. I think I sent it to her. I was like, I don't know what this is, but I dig it. Like I think it's awesome. Didn't even know it was based on anything. I figured because everything's based on something now, but like I didn't know. And then I talked to you about it, and you let me borrow the DVD of the first story arc anime. I think it was broken into like 2 parts, but it ended about the DVD I had ended about where the movie ended.
Yeah.
So you let us borrow that, and me and her both watched it that night and really enjoyed it and thought it was cool. It was an interesting world. Interesting character. It didn't feel dated. For being like an older anime, it didn't feel dated at all.
And a lot of times, they lean so far into the post-apocalyptic world that it feels like Akira now feels.
It does feel a little
old.
It's still great,
weird.
but
it's great.
No, it does though.
Yeah. Whereas this to me is more. Well, and I said it after the live action movie. This to me feels more like a fairy tale that happens to be in like a cyberpunk world.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I had zero knowledge of it before this. I just
not your bag.
Yeah, I've never been an anime or manga.
Never even dabbled like in college.
Just a little.
No, I mostly dabbled with drugs. Like my kid did go through a pretty intense manga. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I know.
Anime phase. I'm just gonna say anime.
Japanese animation.
In my world, it's all under anime because
Sure.
it's an easy world to say, and I don't know anything about it. He really dug anime for a while. So I would kind of see stuff like books and stuff, but
well, that's my sister. Yeah. My sister's 8 years younger than me, and when she got into high school, she got into it big time because that was actually kind of the boom.
Oh yeah, I was right in that boom.
Yeah,
it was in everywhere. It was all just Dragon Ball Z,
Neon Genesis Evangelion.
Yeah,
I think
Gundam Wing,
Gundam, all that stuff was huge. I was working at Suncoast at the time, and we were selling the shit out every day. We'd sell dozens of all of it.
Oh yeah.
But my mom was asking me about it, and I was like, man, keep an eye on that shit.
I know about
tentacles.
Escaflowne. That's another one. I don't know anything about it. I just know that name.
Oh, I'm like Flonase?
Flonase. It's great. Yeah, it's fantastic. So anyway, going into this, the initial trailer, I was very excited about the fact that James Cameron was going to be producing. Because no matter what I think of his output over the last 15 years or so, he is a genius.
Yeah.
And he is a he is a technological wizard. He pushes the boundaries of what's possible with film. So the fact that he was going to be a producer was great because it meant it was going to get the best treatment it could technology-wise. And then when they announced Robert Rodriguez was directing, like, on the one hand, I love Robert Rodriguez, but I wasn't sure if he was quite right for the material because I just couldn't.
Well, he's never done anything like that.
No, exactly. And it's a big scale for the guy that. And then, granted, he did Sin City, so he's dealt. Yeah. He's dealt with green screen and CGI, which this movie had shockingly little of. We found out.
Yeah. Especially the green screen, like pretty much non-existent. Like they built sets.
That's amazing, and that was we'll probably reference for the listeners over the course of this conversation a few things that we got. You're fine. A few things. It's fine. Ryan's just peeing in a cup while we talk.
Trying to pour something.
But we stuck around because after the special screening, we got to watch a little behind-the-scenes thing. What was it, about effects was the first one, I think?
It was that.
About the motion capture.
Yeah.
It had her in the... performance capture.
Yeah.
Because she had not only the suit, but there were 2 HD cameras on her face with all the dots all over her face that were picking up everything that she did. Rosa Salazar, I think? Yeah. Who played Alita.
Which is insane.
Which in the comic is named after Dr. Ito's dead cat. In the movie, it's his dead daughter.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that. You're right, though,
Yeah. In the comic, her name is Gally. But
that's that was an addition that I liked.
Yeah.
I thought it was way more impactful.
Yes.
Because then you had the whole, like, this is kind of his new daughter kind of thing, and it's,
Well, yeah, I think it gives it that element of... she's like his foster daughter or surrogate daughter, and he's kind of her surrogate father. I don't know if neither word for foster or surrogate is proper, but you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Like he definitely is using her to deal with his own grief from losing his daughter, and obviously she's using him as the only father figure that she's had. So it was really cool.
Well, and it also gives a relationship a chance to develop because it's a very interesting arc that they have, which we'll get to. But so Robert Rodriguez is directing, and he starts casting, and we get, I think the big name that got me really excited was Cristoph Waltz. Oh, yeah. Like as soon as he was attached, to me, it like doubled its legitimacy. And it was so funny seeing him in the movie because he looks just like the character.
Yeah,
like
he does.
with the hat and the glasses on him.
Oh, really?
And it's him.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really amazing, and I mean, he's fantastic in everything.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because, looking back at Inglourious Bastards, and that opening scene with him, where he has such sensitivity, but it's coming from this place of manipulation and evil. But in this movie, he takes that same sensitivity, and it's a genuine fatherly thing, but at the same time, because of the story, where we do have a little bit of a time where we're not sure if he's the killer.
If he's genuine or not.
Right.
Yeah.
So it kind of plays his past sinister role against the audience here. It uses it, because you're like, he seems so sweet and great, and he rebuilt her, and what a sweet guy. Oh, but that's right. He was an evil Nazi fucklord in that other movie. Maybe he is a bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
Which even knowing the story, you don't know what they're going to change. You don't know what they're going to do adaptation-wise. So it was a nice use of who he is.
I felt like, I don't know, I got so wrapped up in this story. So it's just immediately, so quickly. And again, coming from very almost zero information except for also my ability to recollect things is not great.
Well, and that's the thing. So, if you've only watched it once, then it's not.
I watched it once, and I was, and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I really like this story, but I didn't really file away all of I don't know why, but for some reason, this movie made a huge impact on me, and the animated one, and nothing against it, it was great, but it didn't quite lodge itself in there as deeply. I can watch a movie and then remember that I really liked it, but not really remember a lot of details about it later.
Here's a big difference, though, is the this is English language, American produced movie with English speaking actors, whereas the anime, one, it's either dubbed or subtitled. Either way, you're losing emotion and intent.
Oh yeah,
because as much as I love and the wife and I have had this conversation a few times in recent years because we went through a phase where we watched shit tons of foreign horror movies.
Oh yeah, I love foreign horror.
But we got to the point where they just... It was almost like when you've been eating something for a long time and then you pick up a flavor you never picked up before and you're like, ugh, and you can't eat it anymore. We realized that we weren't, especially with the Japanese horror movies, that we just weren't getting the emotion and the intent because of the cultural differences. Like, it's cool to sit there and watch these incredible effects, and it's cool to sit there and watch creepy, Asian girls crawl out of the vent or whatever. But if you really want to relate to the protagonists of those movies, there's a barrier there.
Yeah.
That you just don't... even though the American versions of, The Ring and The Grudge aren't as good, they're more palatable to me.
I remember them better.
It's just that cultural difference in the reactions and everything is just different. And I wonder if maybe
it depends on the thing, because a lot of times I will say that I prefer the subtitled to the dubbed because at least there's pros and cons. Like, I lose something if I'm having to read the subtitles, but it makes me pay more attention to the movie because, I am the kind of person that will watch a movie, but I have to be doing 3 things at once. I'll be making candles or watch a movie, whatever. But, if something is subtitled, you have to watch it or you have no idea.
What sort of candles might you be making?
Oh, I make candles for... I'll let him handle that part.
That's all you need.
That's it.
It speaks for itself.
I like the fact that I have to pay more attention, and I also like the fact that by reading the subtitles, I'm still hearing the emotion in their voice, as opposed to the dubbing is someone else's, and sometimes dubbing is just hey, would you just speak this?
There's different levels of
the level
dubbing,
of acting isn't very great. There's
Resident Evil 1, and then there's My Hero Academia, it's the actors are really good and it actually flows with the animation, and then there's Resident Evil 1 where they were just handed a script and they're say these words.
I always wonder if they're just hi, how are you? Just reading off a thing and I have no idea what's going on in the part that they're playing, but I don't know. There's pros and cons.
But yeah, I will say, I love the anime. Haven't read the manga, but I really, really think the movie actually was better to me. I thought the movie version of Alita Battle Angel was my preferred version now.
Well, and it was also, it was more streamlined. The story really, really moves along.
Oh, they trimmed the fat. And
I like that... It is, the reason I keep saying fairy tale is because it has that quality of it just keeps moving. They're not stopping to say, well, this is why she would trust him, and this is why he would give her this body, and this is why the nurse is, here's how the nurse and Ito met, and here's how this, we're plunking you in to their lives, and you're going. Things happen because this is how they're happening. I really just liked how it just moved along. And it wasn't one of those deals where... we want to get here, but we don't really care how we get there. It was just a matter of these are the stops we're going to make on this adventure. It wasn't carelessness, it was expediency.
It was the perfect amount of exposition, I think, all around. Even the nurse thing, you bring that up, I felt and I'm sure that this is something that's very evident when you read the anime and stuff like that, but
you don't read anime?
Sorry. Yes, you do if it has subtitles.
Oh. Burn!
Sorry.
Fucking weeb.
I'm going to piss off anybody that's a fan of anime or manga.
But that's okay, because we're here to talk about the different perspectives on this.
But I really felt there was a relationship between him and the nurse that...
was unexplored.
And not in a bad way. I felt they had much more of a connection, and I may have just been reading into this, but I felt she's really his only companion.
Yeah. As confidant.
In his life, I felt like she was a lot more than just a nurse to him, especially when they show them going to the rollerball thing together. And, like, she's helping get Alita ready and, like, this whole thing. And she's, like, in her street clothes.
Yeah, she's
like,
there for them.
Yeah, they may not have a romantic relationship because, like, he might not be emotionally, like, but they love each other, either in a platonic or in a more way.
Well, I immediately got a deep, deep trust because the actors and her name...
And she has, like, 5 words in the whole movie, but she's wonderful.
Idara Victor. Idara Victor and Cristoph Waltz had a really, really nice chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
It was very subtle, but they just belonged on screen together.
Yeah.
It was really
and
good.
that's what I felt like. I felt like maybe I'm making this up, like maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I felt like there is this intimacy between these two people that they're just kind of like I won't say glossing over, it was just there. It was just this comfortable, nice intimacy that you feel through every scene that they're in together. You're like, oh, like, they're not like employer and employee. Like, they're a team.
Yeah,
they trust each other. Like, there's a lot more going on here than they're really exploring. But, I felt like it was okay.
My perspective was, they fucking. They fucking.
I was making it sweet. But, yeah, they may be fucking. Or there may have been a fuck.
Well, that was one of the places where this movie succeeded, though, is all of the connections between the characters felt very real.
Oh, yeah.
From the nurse and Ito to Ito and Notes, Sharon, Jennifer Connelly's character, their damaged relationship. Man, I really like that story arc too, and it didn't hit me as much while we were watching it, but thinking about it the last couple of days, the fact that they went from we lost our daughter and, Ito has accepted that he's stuck in Iron City, this is his life, he's going to help these people as best he can, whereas she wants to get back up to the floating city, Solemn.
Yeah.
Solemn.
It was like she gave everything when her daughter got sick, and then when they ended up losing her, she was just like completely focused back on that, getting back there and that the social status of being in Solemn and stuff like that.
Well, they just they lost that connective thing, their daughter, and their
priorities went in the exact opposite. Like, he dealt with his grief, I think, by trying to help other people who were hurting, and she dealt with her grief by not really dealing with her grief, just being like, I have this one singular goal.
Out of town.
Yeah, like, I want to get back. I deserve to be in Solemn. That's where I came from, and I'm going to get back there.
Well, he also dealt with it with revenge, being like a hunter killer.
That's true.
Yeah.
Hunter warrior.
Yeah, like, and I thought that whole aspect was like the way they explained how they like sign up and like basically get bounties and shit. I thought was really cool. And they have no police. They're just like, no, that's
they were all such simple concepts to grasp.
Oh yeah.
You have the hunter warriors.
Yeah, again, not a lot of exposition needed. Yeah.
Yeah, it just takes a couple lines of dialogue, like, but they're basically superheroes.
Yeah.
Like they see Ed Screen, Zapan,
yeah.
See him walking around, and dude's like, yeah, they're superheroes.
Dude, his like work on his like cyborg body looked badass.
Yeah.
Like, I need a figure of him. Like, that looked so awesome.
Well, that's I had said, like, I think I'm going to have to get the Hot Toys figure of Alita, but I'm what Toy Fair is this weekend, and I'm like waiting until after Toy Fair to see if anybody announces online, because it seems like all those crazy designs.
They
in the
lend
movie,
themselves so well.
Which, by the way, the big giant dude, Gruishka, that was Jackie Earle Haley.
Holy shit, really?
Yes.
Oh my god, I had no idea. I can see it now.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, it's obvious, but
I actually caught that one in the credits.
And actually, for the listeners, I do want to make it clear that don't go into this as a live-action movie. Go into this as almost like it's very CGI heavy as far as the characters go, and it's almost Roger Rabbit-like except that they interact more seamlessly. But like, you know, the cyborgs are crazy. Like, you couldn't have built these things to move this way, and it's not like, I wouldn't say it's quite animation, but it's probably like Avatar. I haven't seen more than 15 minutes of that, but it's like they have taken the fact that, you know, some of this is going to be CG and used that on these characters. They're not necessarily going for. Do you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Like,
it's
not
apparent that it's CG, but it's not bad because it's part of the look.
Well, it's also part of that world, and like everything is kind of made like that. So like, yeah, you have like big giant cyborg guy and like Zapan, but like Zapan, like he looks crazy, and there's no way they could have done that with practical effects at all.
Well, I mean, any of them.
Yeah. But like Zapan, like I will say, like I really, you know, I couldn't tell. Like there wasn't like a weird floaty face thing.
Well, and that's
I felt like it was some of the best CG I've seen. Like I think I was saying this like right after the movie. There were a lot of parts where I wasn't like, I couldn't quite tell where like the CG ended and the reality began. I think they kind of like visually treated like the real stuff, so it was kind of in the same tone. Does that make sense?
Well, yeah, and that's what they did. Like with Alita and with all the cyborg characters, it was that performance capture.
It was so good, and that was the thing I think that made it real, is that everybody felt like they were moving around in a really real way because they did that performance capture thing with all of the cyborgs.
Yeah,
they were actual human beings, and they were, you know, wearing a suit and moving around. And even the ones that like Zapan guy, the only human part about him really is his face. Not even his whole head, just his
beautiful face.
Which he's very into. But like the rest of his body is all cyborg stuff, but the way he's moving around feels completely real because it was.
Yeah, it has weight and it has presence in the scene.
They overlaid him with a CG character, so everything felt much more real. Than it's so hard to CG a person well, you know, because we're very complex. Our movement
when you're watching a movie and they CG a person,
yes, and you know what? That's exactly what it is. Is the movement of these, like, you're looking at it, you know it's CG, but the movement of the characters
is real.
Is perfect because it's synced up.
Yeah. Even like the Gruishka guy, because he's huge. He's like, you know, 8 or 9 feet tall, and he's giant, huge shoulders. But he felt to me like what a guy wearing a huge ass suit would move around like. You know what I mean? So he even felt real, as in like he'd be like dum dum dum, and he would move in that very blocky way if he was wearing this really large suit to make himself like 8 feet tall and very wide and all that. So it all felt real.
Alita looked incredible, and I know that you know, a lot of people, a lot of trolls online were like giving grief about the eyes, but I'm like, well, first off, I loved it.
Yeah,
I thought that it added a lot to the character. I also feel like that's very true to the source material because she's yeah, I mean. But I thought that, I mean, I really thought that they just overlaid some stuff over her arms and her face, and everything else was just the way she was dressed. I didn't realize she was in a full suit because it didn't feel like it. It felt like there was like CG parts on a normal person.
But if you look at the face, her CG face, she has pores. She has like wrinkles.
She has little imperfections.
And they're actually like it's the Rosa
Salazar.
Salazar. So wow, that was sorry.
That was close.
Anyways, but like it looks like her face. It has all the lines of her face, and like I said, she has pores, and you don't normally see that in a CG character because like they don't
get that close up.
And why, you know, why would they design it like that? But it's like so real. They did such a fantastic job.
That like weird uncanny valley thing.
No, it wasn't at all.
Which is like really common with like the real, like when they try to go over realistic with CG characters. Like even like Tarkin, Polar Express. I think Tarkin even a little bit. You know, like in Rogue One.
Yeah, I'll say this.
Which I didn't. Hey, I'm just saying. You know,
but you're right.
It was a little.
It's noticeable.
Yeah.
It didn't bother me, but it's noticeable. This Alita, at no point does she feel. You know, she has giant eyes. Yes, she's exaggerated and she's other than human. but at no point does she feel fake.
No, she fits and she felt real to me.
And the interaction of the cyborgs with their human parts works so much better than the banner head floating around in the Hulkbuster.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know. It's so awkward and weird.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny to think, and look, I'll go ahead and say right now, this movie's probably going to tank.
Yeah, sadly, really sucks.
It sucks. It really sucks because it's beautiful and exciting and fun, but I just don't think people are going to... I don't think people get it. I don't think people get what it's about.
No.
I don't think they're going to go out for it.
Yeah.
Which makes me really, really sad.
I know. And I wonder if releasing it at a different time maybe would have helped.
I don't know, because there's nothing else out right now.
Yeah, but this is typically a dead part of the year.
Yeah.
Black Panther was the big movie last year at this time, but it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah. That's got a built-in audience.
10 years of audience, built up.
Yeah, no, this is like a totally new, and usually this is like the ones that flop when it's like a new franchise launch and it's like, big concept and like, over the top and ridiculous, a lot of CG, like people are going to be like, yeah, I'll skip that. But it's fucking good, so it kind of bums me out. Like that one they released recently with like something about like, it was like Harry Potter, but with like robots and like Road Warrior stuff, and like I saw the trailer and it was like all CG, and I was like, I'm gonna skip this.
I have no idea.
I don't know. It was like something in the land of 1,000 mirrors and shit. I don't know.
Was it
like
the
I don't
Nutcracker thing? Or?
No. I don't know. I don't know.
Are you talking about Valerian?
No, it wasn't Valerian. Which
Valerian.
We totally disagree on that one. I hated that movie.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, I thought it was god awful.
I didn't see it. I took his word for it.
I'll find it in a minute.
But like,
a lot of those movies look like skippable movies. Like,
sure.
I hope people don't see this trailer and be like, I don't know what the fuck.
And that's probably what it is they probably feel like it's more of the same, and it's not.
And it's not
very much stands
at
out.
all.
This movie really fucking just like, I don't know, like it got me and I got it. Like I haven't been like affected by a good sci-fi movie like this in a long time. I was blown away.
So, warning for the listeners, we got to talk. And then if you haven't figured out by now that we do spoilers in the Needless Things podcast.
There's going to be a whole bunch of spoilers coming up.
We do have to talk about one thing. We have to talk about the dog. It's a very John Wick scenario, and it sucks, but I get why it happened, and it's just such a movie trope. But I sent a message earlier to Ryan saying I really wish they'd had a post-credit scene because Jeff Fahey plays one of the Hunter Warriors. He's an old cyborg guy, and he's got all these cyborg dogs.
You're going to go to the same place I was going
and
with it. Yes.
I sent Mortal Engines.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched the trailer. It's fucking...
Yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, and I was like,
we got to put the cities in the air.
Yeah, I'm like... I'm worried people are going to think it's like that.
I sent Ryan a message earlier, and I was like, man, I really wish they'd just done one post-credit sting of Jeff Fahey with the little dog, Cyborg Dove. Because it seems so obvious
when we got
to
home,
me.
I was like, I thought, like, I held on for a little while thinking, like, they're going to cyborg this dog. And then the dog never comes. I was like, oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so the dog just bought it.
In that entire bar scene, the only creature with any courage to stand up with Alita is this teeny little street dog that she had been sweet to.
That ends up as face paint.
Yes. And it was really like, hey, if you stand up for your friends, you're probably going to get squished.
But
that's a good life lesson, though.
I mean,
I think.
Yeah.
But, I don't know.
Man, that fight scene in the bar was...
Oh, my God.
Awesome.
Every fight scene was so good.
I feel like they did such a good job. Okay, so the secret super martial art that she knows is called Panzerkunst. Mm-hmm. And... you see it in the comic, and obviously the comic is just still shots. It doesn't really have any kind of fluidity.
So they basically had to make it up.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In the anime, you don't have to deal with physics or realistic movement of human bodies or anything, and it looks pretty badass.
Yeah.
But, man, they really gave her this lightning-fast, acrobatic style that was just so fluid, but so powerful. Mm-hmm. Every time, because she didn't have a lot of strikes. But when she hit something, that was usually pretty much it.
Yeah.
Like, there was so much. It was very important to them, I think, that she be fluid and powerful. And it just, it looked so
She made every one of her strikes count. And they actually say something in the movie about her being so little. Like, how can so much power come from such a little person?
Right, because she has
and
that
they're like, I think,
technology.
I think it comes from her heart. And
it's literally.
They mean it comes from her heart because she has this, like,
super
nuclear
heart that could
heart
power
thingy,
all of Iron City.
You know, but also, like, her heart, you know?
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
it's kind of a twofold because, like, she really is this very pure, innocent warrior spirit, you know? That she's just going to do what she feels is right. It's awesome.
So let's talk a little bit about the people that she's up against. We've talked about Gruishka, which is the kind of moronic cyborg that's slave to Vector and Nova. And
that has, like, scorpion powers.
Yes, yeah. Well, and that's a big thing, though, in
but
the other ones.
Did you catch that was the hand that they stole?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That
it was the one that they cut off that guy.
Yeah, the whole reason that he's got that is because shithead boyfriend steals it.
Hugo's, which... By the way, I had to look up Hugo because Hugo is the young male lead of the movie, Alita's love interest, who, I mean, it's a solid teenage romance story because he's the shitty guy that she falls for, and he almost has a redemptive arc, but he just can't stop being a shithead. So Kian Johnson, who I swore was familiar from, like, maybe a Disney show or something, but he's not. His Wikipedia page is in Spanish. And he was in a hub show called Spooksville, and then he was on Nashville in, like, a small role or something, and that's it.
I skipped both of those.
Yeah. Which actually seems a little odd that you would have skipped Spooksville.
I know. It sounds like a Casco just song.
Right, exactly.
Spooksville.
He was a good actor. He did very good in the role. The character, I wanted to just, like, throw, you know, boiling water in his face the whole time.
But they really toned him down a bit from the original, from the source material.
He was a little bit
he
of
was
a
more of a
whinier
douche.
brat and a douche in the anime.
And in this one, at least there is a little, like, okay, in this one we know he's a dirtbag, but we can at least see why she falls for him prior to knowing that he's cutting people apart and selling their parts.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was the only person, like she was with the dog. He's the only person that was nice to her
he was
in
a
the
charming
town.
little dude.
Yeah, and he, you know, showed her the ropes on playing rollerball. No, that's a movie.
Motorball.
Motorball. There you
I
go.
know. I keep saying rollerball.
Although even though
it's like roller derby.
And throughout the whole movie, Murderball was stuck in my head.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, Motorball.
I feel like she and you know, I'll get a little bit, like, on a girly rant here, but
that's a
like,
girly movie.
Yeah,
it's a badass girly movie.
Damn right.
But it's, like, such a good girly movie. Like, I want, like, 12-year-old girls to watch this movie. You know? But it was like, he's kind of the first person that she interacts with socially. He's really charismatic and cute and charming. And he is that guy that, like, every girl has at least one, usually more than one, in, like, their youth, where you kind of completely fall for him because he's there, and you create this idea of him in your mind, and you're, like, in love with this idea of this really cool guy. It's something, you know, and honestly, women, you know, it doesn't just, we don't necessarily grow out of it when we grow out of our teen years, but it happens a lot in the teen years. So, like, she meets him, and she kind of creates this persona of, like, who she wants him to be. Yeah. And she's, like, in love with that, but she never really gets to know him to, like, actually fall in love with the actual person. You know, and then we find out that, you know, he's been, he makes money by dismembering cyborgs, and he justifies it to himself by saying, well, I'm not killing them. Like,
well, and to be clear to the listeners, in this world, like, what, 80% of people are cyborgs?
At least something.
Like, it's not like a special class.
Yeah, people get fucked up and they get, like, their shit replaced with, like,
and that's who Ito is helping.
Yes.
Is just the regular Joes who go work in the factory with their cyborg arms.
Yeah, and then you realize that, like, a lot of the people that Ito is helping, like, they're like, oh my god, I got attacked in the street, and, like, they took my arms or whatever. Well, it's this jack off.
Oh, fuck, I didn't even put that together.
Yeah, like...
Oh, shit. That's
why we're here.
Yeah, they're
crazy.
the gang that are, like...
I mean, it makes sense
attacking
now,
these people. And it's just, this is just regular people, like factory workers and shit, that happen to have, like, a real nice cyborg arm.
Yeah, they're not all ninjas. Well, and I think that's one of the concepts that they don't sit down and explain to the audience, but is that cyborg parts are, you know, they're a reasonable thing. Like,
It's
if you're
accessible.
like, man, I could do my job better if I had a robot arm, then you can save up your money and get a robot arm.
Yeah.
This is not our Earth. This is the future, and it's kind of an
Parallel.
alternate, type of thing.
But, like, his whole reason for doing this is because he's obsessed with the idea of getting to Zalem, which is this city in the sky where, like...
Which I love that they don't actually show.
Yeah, it's where all, like, the rich, fancy people live. So it's just basically, like, kind of representative of the higher society life. That if you were to grow up in, you know, like, a poorer section, what you would imagine that high society life is. That's what Zalem is. And he is 100% consumed with... just like Jennifer Connelly, but in different ways, of getting to Zalem. And he has been duped into thinking that if he gets X amount of money,
right,
he'll be able to get to Zalem. But he's completely driven by that. So, like, his goal is just social advancement. And, you know, like, just climbing that ladder and, like, the hierarchy of, you know, finances and social standing. And it's just, like... I don't know, I just really hated this guy's character. I thought he was such a piece of shit and so unworthy of this pure, sweet spirit.
Here's how run-of-the-mill cyborgs are, is that at the end of the movie, spoiler alert, Hugo gets his head cut off, deservedly so. Well, he gets stabbed.
Yeah.
There's a big, and we won't go into, like, every single little detail of the plot, but... there's a big confrontation with Zapan, and
that was really cool.
Zapan stabs Hugo, so Alita, who is now a hunter warrior, which I really enjoyed the storyline of Ito kind of like giving in to letting her. All right, fine. So the only way for Hugo to live is for Sharon to cut his head off, attach it to Alita's heart. And for her to smuggle his head back to Ito to put on a robot body. Now... Yeah,
because if she doesn't do this, then she gets, like, eliminated... Or she becomes a criminal because...
She has to turn him in.
Yeah.
She either turns him in or she breaks the Hunter-Warrior code.
Yeah, because he has the price on his head. If she, like, knowingly lets him go, then she becomes a criminal.
Either way, he's going to die.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, he wakes up. Any other movie... This would be like ultimate body horror. My head is now on a robot body. My dick is gone.
Yeah.
Just have a big robot, like a big mech warrior body now. And he wakes up and he's just kind of like, okay. Cool. Like, he's not terribly upset about it.
Yeah.
That's how
common it is.
The cyborg thing is in this world. Yes. Where it's like, there could be a whole... Well, there is in Tetsuo the Iron Man. If you haven't seen it, it's the most horrifying movie I've ever seen in my life. I can't even think about it without getting terribly upset. So don't check that out. So anyway.
I did, on that same note, though, I did consider how they would do it. And whether or not she had, I'm like, is there, like, some stuff?
Well,
I think so.
The second body she had would for sure adapt. Because they showed that it responded. So, I mean, she could... I'm going to totally...
No, it's fine. Everybody hits it.
So, I mean, without getting too crazy here, let's just say yes.
I definitely, like, thought a lot more about it while watching the movie than I probably should have.
Because they're all running around naked.
Does she have a vagina?
Like,
I can't see it.
They're robot naked.
Maybe it's like...
But they're naked.
Yeah.
Maybe there's like a rubber seal there or something. Rubber flap. I don't know. I thought a lot about it. Maybe there'd be like an attachment.
I thought it was like a chamber that opened up and then, you know, I don't know. I thought about it too, okay, you know.
Enter my love chamber. Love chamber. This is like a 90s...
The sequel to Love Gun.
A 90s girl industrial band.
Oh, that sounds terrible. They played with Kitty.
Yeah.
Hey, I like Kitty. I do. All right, so moving along from love chambers, we got to talk about. Here we go. We were talking. Nothing is going to be a worse mispronunciation than Mahershala Ali, who is
that Wesley Snipes?
No, it's Vector, who looks nothing like Wesley Snipes.
I feel like he is this generation's Wesley Snipes.
You're not wrong.
I'm sorry. Like as soon as he had the exact same presence.
Vibe.
When he first comes on screen, I was like, Wesley Snipes. And I think it's more of like a complete.
It's the way he carries himself.
Yeah, it's his presence on screen is Wesley Snipes in Blade or in any like.
It takes 0.3 seconds to go. Oh fuck, he's cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And he was in the first season of Luke Cage. He was, spoilers again. He is the absolutely incredible villain that they stupidly killed like halfway through, Cottonmouth. And then he's on the current season of True Detective, which is very good. If you checked out in the second season, check back in now because this season's really good. But he's fucking great. I look forward to seeing him in things, and I hope the fact that he was in Luke Cage doesn't mean he couldn't possibly be in a future like MCU thing.
Yeah,
because he actually would make a great Blade.
He was a fantastic villain, and like I said, I immediately was like, this is our new Wesley. Like, we've been given a new Wesley Snipes. Just like a badass dude. I thought he was really cool. I thought he was great.
But his interactions with Jennifer Connelly were very, very good.
He also looked exactly like the character.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
To the T.
Yeah, it's amazing because at the end with Nova, when you see Edward Norton with the little glasses on, I mean,
so weird.
That was bizarre.
But
and he had like James Cameron hair. It was weird.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like that was intentional.
Oh, we gotta mention because we're gonna have to wrap up in a minute here.
Oh gosh, sorry.
We have to mention the fact that the second special feature that we saw after the movie was a really cool Q&A that seemed like it might have been recorded earlier that day.
Yeah, because it couldn't have been.
Because they kept referring to people seeing it tonight.
Yeah, and then
so I'm thinking people that knew they were going to see it hit up Twitter, Instagram, or whatever, sent the questions in. They recorded that, and then a few hours later, I don't know, but it was a live, like they had cuts, but it wasn't edited.
Yeah.
But Robert Rodriguez and James Cameron were wearing matching.
You and I both realized this at the same time. We both looked at each other. I was like, "Are they wearing matching rings?"
We both looked at Ryan because Ryan was sitting between us, and we both looked at Ryan and we're like, "Do their rings match?" He's like, "Oh."
Yeah, they did.
They were looking at their rings,
but they were both. They were
and then
wearing them.
Blinking.
They were wearing them on their left hand. Yeah, and there were
they
two
really
rings together. They clanked together. It was so weird.
Can we get a little more clink on the rings?
Clink on the rings in my headphones.
Yeah, I don't know what it meant, but yeah, there was this moment. I think we both heard the clanking, and we both looked, and we turned to Ryan at the exact same moment, and we're both like, "Are they wearing matching rings?" And then we were like, "Haha."
I don't know. I think that they, through the process of this movie, have become like best.
They're like husband and husband.
They've been good friends for years, but very clearly they bonded while making this movie. But the Q&A was really neat. I liked that we got to see that. But back to the movie itself, all of the action was just phenomenal. I mean, we know that's what Robert Rodriguez does. If you go back and watch El Mariachi, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, Desperado, holy shit, those action scenes are like no other movie you've ever seen. They're incredible. He's innovative. He's brilliant. He knows how to hold a camera fucking straight.
Mm-hmm. I love Robert Rodriguez.
Seems basic.
Yeah.
Oh, no. Not in modern day action.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Like, the two reasons I love Robert Rodriguez is I love what he does visually, and I love what he does with action. And that is why this movie was so great, I think.
Every Robert
because of those
Rodriguez
two elements.
Action scene is going to give you something you have not seen before. Mm-hmm. And I love, that was another cool thing is hearing him talk about, in his movies, he's creating these fantastical, almost cartoonish worlds, but he knew coming to a James Cameron movie that everything Right.
Yep.
Exactly.
It had to be based in reality.
Right.
Like, and in reality, you're not going to take a whatever kind of gun and stick it on a woman's leg and make that like that. It's awesome, and I love it, but it's fanciful.
With an M16.
Yeah, he had to bring it down to, even though it's all CG and it's not reality, it still has to feel like reality.
Which I think that
it does.
And
I think
absolutely
that was the perfect collaboration. Because I do feel like Robert Rodriguez on his own trying to adapt this.
He may have been
and that was my concern.
Yeah,
that was my exact concern. Was that he was a little too fantastical for science fiction, and this is science fiction.
Absolutely.
As much as I've used the word fairy tale, it is a world with physics and with the way that biology and mechanics interact, and it's got
rules for this world.
Right.
Yeah, it is. Right. It is very well crafted, and it's such an interesting world. I really hope we get some sort of a follow up to it, but you never know.
So I didn't catch this until I was looking at the credits. There are a couple of flashbacks to Alita's life prior to being found in the scrapyard, and her trainer was Michelle Rodriguez. I knew she was familiar.
God, yeah, I couldn't get it.
But the blonde hair
and the eyes too. She had the big eyes too.
Eyes as well.
Yeah.
I love Michelle Rodriguez.
Oh yeah, she's awesome in everything.
I would like to hang out with her.
I'll tell you, I need to see. I can't remember the name, but I read the comic book and they made it into a movie. The Assignment, which was originally called Reassignment, and it's a movie about a hitman who messed with the wrong people, and a surgeon gives him an involuntary sex change operation.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Michelle Rodriguez plays the character.
That sounds
both
perfect.
Pre and post.
She's so awesome.
And the comic was insane. And Sigourney Weaver plays the doctor that does the deed.
Oh my god, I need to see this. This sounds awesome.
It was too fucked up. It got no kind of wide release whatsoever. But it's I can't remember the name of the director right now. Is it Joe Hill? No, that's not.
No, that's Stephen King.
Yeah, that's Stephen. It's Walter Hill. It's Walter Hill.
Okay.
I
need to write that down.
It's The Assignment.
Okay.
It is fucking bonkers.
Nice.
But
wonderful.
We get to see these really cool flashbacks of her scrapyard life, and there's so much material to be mined. There could be a prequel movie.
Yeah.
There could be something to follow this up, and let's talk about that ending. Alita becomes, after Hugo thankfully gets thrown off the...
I know, I'm so honey, you're better off, it's fine.
So she becomes very proficient at motorball. We had the incredible scene where she's trying out, which was awesome. Just amazing.
That realization that everyone is going to kill him.
It was just fantastic.
Just that whole build up, and you're like, all these people want to kill her, and she's like, "Hey guys, take it easy on me. It's my first time." And she's looking around, she's like, "What the fuck?" Everyone's just looking at her like, "You're dead."
But it's also awesome when she comes to the realization when Ito's like, "Hey, they're trying to kill you," and she's like, "Which one?" And he's like, "All of them," and she's like, "Okay."
Yeah,
she doesn't leave. She doesn't abandon.
She doesn't freak out at all. She's like, "Cool, bring him on. Fuck you."
She's at least I know
great.
now.
Yeah, and her crazy rollerblade feet that she just
those
switches
are
out
awesome.
with her regular
feet.
feet.
Yes.
I want those. That's
cool. I want to be able to switch out my feet because, ugh.
So we end with her becoming a motorball champion. And
this is the moment where she's going to become...
That's the only way to actually get there.
Right,
yeah.
Exactly.
Is
and
to
she
get
wants
promoted
to get there to fuck up the system.
Unless you're in a suitcase or something.
Well,
yeah.
Or unless you're a brain in a jar.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which poor Jennifer Connelly.
Fucked up. They kill her off camera.
That was really fucked
up. But it
was
great. It was perfect.
It had to be off camera to get that.
And again,
reveal.
It's another weird redemption that's not really a redemption, which this movie is really good for.
It was.
Yeah, Hugo has this almost redemption, but then I think he really doesn't.
Yeah, because in the end, he's still being a selfish prick.
Yeah, and I'll just really briefly, when the shit hits the fan, he doesn't go look for Alita. He goes to pursue his goal to get to Zalem.
Yeah.
Because that's it.
Well, and also, you made a really good point about what's he doing when he quits the business. that he set all his friends up in.
Yeah.
And he goes...
He goes up, so he finds his buddies taking apart a cyborg, and literally is like, hey, and like starts bitching them out, like, we don't do this anymore.
Right, all of a sudden he's Mr.
Yeah,
World.
like all of a sudden,
like,
because he's got a cyborg girlfriend who can like kick his ass like easily. He goes to his friends and he's like, yeah, we don't do this anymore, like, blah, blah, blah. And, like, they're like, what the fuck? This is how we make our money. Like, this is it. He doesn't have a conversation with them. He doesn't do anything. He finds them fucking up a guy and gives them shit.
In the middle of their business.
Yeah.
That, as you pointed out,
and even says the dude's name. Totally betrays the guy that you kind of feel like is his best friend.
Yeah.
Says the dude's name in front of the guy that they're stealing his arms but not planning to kill because they're all wearing masks. And he's like, screw you, we're not doing this anymore. And the guy's like, I mean, you could have freaking called me, and we, you know what I mean? Like, could have had a conversation about it.
I'm not sure they had cell phones.
No.
No, I don't think they did. But, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and then Hugo gets attacked, and his friend, even though Hugo has just dicked this guy over and treated him like a piece of shit, called him out, and pretty much, like, said the dude's name, so he's gonna end up with a bounty on his head at some point.
For sure.
His buddy still comes to his defense.
Against the baddest ass hunter warrior, like it's been established through the whole movie.
Yeah.
This guy is Superman.
Yeah. So,
you're good.
fucking comes to his buddy's
I do it 12 times a day.
aid when he's been completely screwed over and gets cut in half. And all I could think of is, I wanted Hugo to get cut in half so bad.
Oh, yeah.
Just like,
Whack! And he's dead.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me?
Like, you've seen
That's
the
the
videos
kind of piece of shit this guy is.
where, like, a guy throws a cantaloupe up in the air and does it with the ninja sword.
That was this
That's
guy's
what
body.
happened to this dude.
Yeah.
Right at the waist.
Fucking instantly.
And then he's all like, no. And I'm like, fuck you. You basically signed his death warrant already.
Right.
You know? And now
He
you're
was
going to
definitely,
use
like,
this.
virtue signaling or
Yeah,
something.
it was
I
it was like one of these.
I don't know what you would call it, but like he
These
was definitely like,
assholes
I'm
on,
a good guy now.
Right.
It's like, you're kind of still a dick.
Guys, I just put on my white hat. Check it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
White knight and all over that shit.
Yeah, and then he goes on at the end to, he's trying to climb up the exhaust thing to Zalem, because that still, through this whole thing, is his only driving motivation. He hasn't changed at all. Basically, what it's saying is, like, he hasn't changed. He hasn't really grown at all. Like, he thinks that Alita's, like, really cool, so he's like, oh, I won't steal people's arms anymore. But, like, that would have been a temporary
At the end of the
thing.
day, he still just wanted to get his arm.
Yeah.
Although he didn't.
He's 100% selfish.
He didn't take her heart.
Yeah.
Which that scene was
awesome.
Man, that was very powerful. But he did obey Vector and send her basically to get slaughtered.
Which is fucked up.
Yeah.
Which I don't think he was totally clear on that being the plan.
Probably
but
not.
That's willful ignorance. It's not.
Because
Well, he knows
he
Vector's
has
a
to
bad
know
guy.
what
I
a
mean,
piece of
he
shit
knows.
Vector is.
Right.
He has to know.
Well, but you know what? He doesn't want to believe what a piece of shit Vector is because
He's
been
up to the
supplying
end,
him
he
with body
thinks
parts.
He's going to get. He thinks he's going to get what he wants.
And again, he's completely motivated by his own selfish, like, ridiculous, unrealistic goals that just are never going to happen.
Well, that's enough talk about selfish prick boy. We also have to mention
The trespasser rings.
that.
He's so crazy.
I need some of those at my house.
Get away.
We have to mention Casper Van Dien, who played the cyborg that we thought was Jackie Earle Haley.
Oh, okay.
The guy in the beginning?
Yeah, the crazy one at the beginning. Amok is his name.
Yeah, he was
That
cool.
was Casper Van Dien.
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
I didn't either, and I don't know if I ever would have known that.
Nah, they didn't really show him like close up.
Well, they did, but he just looked so crazy.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's like almost like a Joker vibe or something like that.
Yeah. But I need toys of all of these.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So is there anything else that jumped out to you guys? Did you have, aside from anything we've discussed, was there a favorite part that you wanted to mention or anything that stuck out to you?
Oh my god, the whole thing was my favorite. Like, I really felt like I was watching it as myself, as, an old grumpy woman. But also, like, I could see watching this at, 8, 10, 12 years old and being like, I mean, it's such a cool ass movie and it's a cool ass movie for anybody, but for like a youngish girl, like most of the time when you see somebody write the badass woman character, it's so like one dimensional, and you're just kind of like, you know. But this felt like
it's typically the flawless. It's less Buffy and more like Supergirl, like the flawless saves the day, can do no wrong, and that's not as interesting.
And it felt like a real, because like she's so naive and so innocent that she has to kind of like explore the world, but like you know, she's like learning about everything. And she is flawed because she kind of like falls for the first douchebag that gave her any attention. And, you know, she's kind of going through the whole rebellion thing against Ito, you know. And
she makes mistakes. She does dumb stuff. She walks into the bar and gives her little speech.
Oh,
which
I love
is
that
great.
scene.
Yeah, and it shows her naivete like so bad.
Yeah.
She's like, we're the good guys, and let's go after this bad guy. And everybody in the bar is like,
crushed.
Sure. Yep. No.
But the important thing about that is it doesn't crush her.
Yeah. She's
like,
she's so
all right,
cool
you know
with
what?
being solo.
Fuck it then. I'll do it without you guys.
Exactly.
Yeah,
She's like, cool, watch this.
Yeah.
You know, and then like, but the one good thing, I'm jumping around because that's where my brain works. Like, the one good thing about like Hugo dying horribly is it gives her this.
I feel like that was your favorite part of the movie.
I had a real issue with Hugo because I'm sorry, I dated that guy like 6 times in my life.
Sure.
Well,
I'll take you to the moon, baby.
Yeah, where I like this guy that like, I don't know, I created this fucking mental picture of who they were, and they were not that person at all. Yeah. And it's like your own fault because you do the thing.
And it takes so much to break that mental picture.
Yes.
And then he got turned into a cyborg. It was weird.
Yeah, exactly. I've dated several cyborgs.
His ding-dong was gone.
But like, it allows her to like, instead of having to kind of go through that realization that this guy's a schmuck and he's just been kind of bullshitting her all along and all this, but like by him dying, it gives her this like drive even more so to go after, like, she knows, I know who my enemy is.
So you're saying they fridged him?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I think it, like, him dying was great all around. It was really good for her, and it gave her, it didn't really make him a martyr, but like almost like to her, it makes him.
Well, I think it more released her than anything.
Yeah, very much so. Because she was doing all this weird shit, like, it's for us, this is for us. And she was making all of her decisions, which is another flaw in the character, but that makes her very realistic.
Very real.
Absolutely.
Instead of thinking about where she needed to go and what she needed to do with the abilities that she had, she was like, oh, this is going to be what we need. Right. And she was like making all these decisions. He's not thinking anything about what we need. Right. He's thinking, I'm going to go to Zalem. And she's like, well, that's his dream, so I guess that's my dream now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which is like terrible because she never ever gets a chance before he gets hacked to pieces or falls and whatever. She doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't get a chance to think about like what her dream is and what her goal is at all. And then so she can. And there's like that moment at the end where we're talking about like she goes to like the motorball championship. Sorry. And she's like, I felt like she's about to win it because it felt like it was like the last motorball before, you know, she's obviously going to win it. And she stands up on the podium and like points up to Zalem. And like that one moment is so fucking bad ass. She is like singularly like, she has identified her enemy, and she even says that. She's like, I know who my enemy is. Yeah. And like you feel like, even it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, it's kind of like a complete story.
It is. Even if that's the end, even if we never get another one, we get it.
Yes.
It's not a... Nick Fury didn't show up and say, hey, there's going to be more of this.
Yeah.
No. That was an ending.
Yeah, like, you get that she will continue to move forward towards this goal as long as she still, like, has a fucking brain and a heart. You know, which she shows several times, like that you can cut her to pieces.
Yeah.
And she's gonna keep going. And she's gonna keep progressing. She is like, she's wonderful.
And that's the takeaway. The ending isn't about we need to see her beat this guy. The ending is knowing that she will never stop until she does.
She is going to fucking fight. No matter who helps her or doesn't help her, no matter who's with her, no matter what happens to her, she is going to fight for what's right. She knows that this guy, and somehow, like, he's been around for like 300 years.
I'm kind of cool with not knowing.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. But he's been around since, you know, her first go through at life, and he was the enemy then. And now she realizes that this guy is still around. And so, yeah, like, with or without any help, and you feel like she would have some help, like people coming into and out of her life, but she's going to be just driven to avenge everybody that this guy has wronged.
Yeah.
So I just fucking, I loved everything about this movie. I think the first thing I said after the credits rolled was like, I think this is like one of my new like favorite sci-fi movies ever. I don't know, man. I felt this weird personal connection. Maybe it's just because it's like a girl thing or whatever, but it was so good. It was so incredibly good.
It's amazingly engaging and real, and the characters behave in real ways. Was there anything?
No, I absolutely loved it. Like I said, this is like one of the few cases that, like, actually, from what I've seen of the source material to the movie, I think I actually would prefer to watch the movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I would like to see a follow-up to it, because I'm one of those people that's like, but what happens, though?
Give us, well, and also, if it's good, give me more.
Well, that too.
Always.
That too.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
I would, but I'm totally cool.
Oh,
and
yeah.
satisfied.
You know, if not, it'll be a movie that I revisit pretty often. I really liked
For
it.
sure.
I mean, as far as favorite moments, probably when she cuts off Sapan's face.
Yeah,
I forgot about that moment.
Yeah, that was badass.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like you guys, I loved the whole thing beginning to end. But I've got to say, the first time Ito turned the jet on that hammer, because I didn't know if they would do that. Which I don't know why they would, but we weren't far enough into the movie yet to know how far they were going to go, what they were going to do.
Yeah.
And that fucking jet hammer, since the first time I ever saw it, I've thought it was the coolest fucking weapon I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was
and
really
to see that
cool.
thing in live action with Cristoph Waltz just tearing cyborgs up with it.
Fucking
and
awesome.
then when she gets a hold of it and is just picking legs and stuff with it.
Oh, yeah.
Man. Yeah, I loved that jet hammer. And I'm sure it's got a better name than Jet Hammer, but...
No, take it, Jet Hammer.
Badass name.
I feel like if I was a rock star, that would be my name. Jet Hammer. Hi, I'm Jet Hammer.
Jet Hammer. It would be one word, too.
Oh,
yeah. Jet Hammer. All right, well, I think we've pretty much jumped around and covered as much as we can right now. The main message is, if you're listening to this, if you weren't sure about this movie... Please go see it. Please spread the word, because it's so badass and awesome. And it's going to be a damn shame if it just sort of peters out and fades away.
I know.
Because this is the type of movie that you see when, I mean, we're all much older than 11 or 12, and we loved it. But this is the type of movie, this is a special movie that you see when you're 11 or 12, and it becomes part of your experience.
Yeah.
I felt an intense emotional connection with this movie. Like I could feel young me watching it and also watching it now. And it was just
also, if you're one of
good.
these people that's always like, Hollywood's out of ideas, all they do is remake shit, go fucking see this movie, because it is an original idea that's
Support
fucking
new
awesome.
shit.
Yeah.
Yes, it's based on source material, but like it's the first of this movie series, and it's fucking amazing. And it's not like anything else that's come out in a while.
No, it's not. As a matter of fact, I would... there are a lot of things you could liken it to. A little bit RoboCop.
Yeah.
A little bit Elysium, a little bit Starship Troopers, a little bit... I mean, there's that social commentary. There's that... The cyberpunk thing is obviously inescapable. It's just awesome. And we all recommend everybody go see it. Mm-hmm. Battle Cougar, where can we find you online? What are you up to? Why does it smell so good in this house?
You can find me on Instagram at Battle Cougar, obviously. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook and all the other stuff with Theme Park Alchemy, because at Theme Park Alchemy, We make fucking amazing candles and really good smelling stuff. So go to themeparkalchemy.com and buy some of our stuff, because I'm not just tooting my own horn. We make really fucking good candles. They look awesome and they smell awesome.
And if you were tooting your own horn, we could light a candle and it would cover the smell up.
Exactly. I could toot my horn like all over this place and you guys wouldn't even notice, because you'd be like, why does it smell so good in here?
It's great.
Yeah.
Ryan Cadaver?
Find me on Instagram, Ryan Cadaver, and my band, The Casket Creatures, and Theme Park Alchemy. So.
Joe Striker.
Oh shit, that's a good point. Yeah, I'm working on a fucking movie. I forgot. It's gonna be awesome. We've already shot a bunch of scenes, and like so far, it's looking way better than it should. We have $13, and this movie's looking like an actual movie. And
how's the CGI coming along?
The CGI is going
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We're doing some motion capture right now. It's going to be really
we did performance capture because
we've got Joe Striker in a leotard.
Yeah, the guy playing the chief didn't want to grow a mustache, so we had to add a mustache. So it's like reverse justice.
Oh, I get you.
We had to add a mustache.
I have a fantastic idea. I'll have to pitch when we stop recording. All right, well, awesome. Thank you guys for having me over. Thanks for talking about Alita Battle Angel.
Fuck yeah. Ha ha.
Okay, so why do I have to start every live conversation with, okay, so anyway, I seriously really, really heartily endorse this movie. It's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's the performances are wonderful. The cast is amazing. The direction. I mean, it's Robert Rodriguez. We gushed enough about him in the conversation, but man, he's just really a dynamo. And the funny thing is, even with his massive library of incredible films, I still feel like there's so much more to come from that guy. He's just an amazing human being who, by the way, Troublemaker Studios, no relation. Anyway, so next week on the show, Toy Fair. Toy Fair is this weekend, and we have already scheduled myself, our head of research, Ryan Schweck, belligerent monkey, Jay Hornsby, and lovely friend of the show, Josh Wilson. We will be getting together to discuss everything that's going on at Toy Fair. There's already been a bunch of big news. We're going to talk about that too. So please be sure and tune in next Friday for our big Toy Fair episode. Nothing else, literally nothing else is going on, you guys. Somebody send me something. Let me come take a microphone from you somewhere. I need something to do. I need to be in front of people doing things, or else I'm going to end up just standing up at work and like doing stand-up routines, and that's just sad. I don't want to be that guy at all. Follow me on Instagram as Phantom Troublemaker. Go to Facebook and join the Needless Things Podcast Facebook group and offer up fun pop culture stuff, but don't be a dick. I've banned some dicks lately. We don't need any more of that. But not you, because I love you guys.
Thank you for listening to the Needless Things Podcast. You're the best. You can find the show on iTunes, Stitcher, Downcast, or in the ears of a Trader Vic's employee. Love you. Mean it. Uh-huh.